beautiful friends. It is an amazing Wednesday. We are warming up these tubes. Not a busy one today. Oh my, look at this schedule. Over on C-SPAN, you can see just a ton of stuff is cooking on the morning. We're going to go into some of it today. We'll come back on some of it later on the show. But just take a look at this schedule. Woo! Bright and early, 6 a.m., House is in session. We've got the Senate's working also. They're live right now. Director Wray from the FBI, loser, testifying in front of the House. And so that's going on right now. We're probably going to have a bunch of clips on that later on in the show. We'll also see Joe Lieberman, I guess, passed away. Rest in peace. Memorial service for him. I remember him. He was always flirting around with the independent party and running as an independent and all that stuff. We got Clyburn, DeLauro, and Raskin. So a bunch of Democrat congresspeople are meeting with the Hamas hostage families. So that's happening today. Right now, we got Senate Republicans who are visiting with the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. Lots of energy around that story today. And Netanyahu's getting snubbed by the White House. So Joe Biden's not showing up. Kamala, the new heir apparent, is not showing up, so he's getting snubbed. Then at 11 Mountain, so about 2 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to be seeing the Israeli Prime Minister talking to Congress. And guess who's not going to be there? Kamala. Very interesting. So there's a lot of reaction to that. Also, Republicans screaming at them for, hating Israel. DNC Rules Committee, they're going to be out, I guess, talking about how the rules don't matter to them at all. Just whatever happens. If they want Joe gone, Joe's gone. White House Daily Briefing. It's not even noon yet on this schedule, and we have a White House Daily Briefing at 11 a.m. Gosh. So that's going to be Karine, I guess. That's going to be wild, too. What's she going to say? She has a lot of explaining. Turns out she was... We'll see what she says. That should be spicy. Then Trump is out, so in the afternoon session, Trump is going to be out, campaigning in Charlotte, North Carolina, which would be good news. And then Biden's going to be addressing the whole nation from the Oval Office later tonight. Woo! Yeah, 6 p.m. Eastern time, Trump will have a rally. Then at 8 p.m. Eastern time, Biden's going to come out and address the nation.
JC.
And I don't know that we're going to spend much time on it, cover it at all. I mean, I think he's just going to be an explanation of what he's doing.
Someone,
he's not
good to see you guys.
I don't think it's going to be anything.
Again, I'm only seeing.
Is he going to leave office?
Someone is the first chat I saw.
Early? Probably not.
So let me open up my other.
So we'll see. We'll see if there's. Usually there's leaks before it comes out. We'll probably be on the show as it is happening, but I don't know that we're going to be worried too much about it. I think it's just going to be his explaining. He's kind of coping himself into, we did a great job, and now I'm going to ride off into the sunset, kind of a legacy type of speech. But people are still wondering if he even knows that he has declared that he's done on this, because we saw this video that was clipped over from Fox News, and Joe Biden's getting out of the car, and then somebody, I think, asks him the questions.
How are you feeling since you dropped out of the race?
What were
Shitty as YouTube's getting, Rumble's just going to keep going up. But I don't buy and sell right away. I hodl.
Actually says what? Now you don't really know what he's responding to, whether he's responding to the question, what? I couldn't hear you, or what? I dropped out of the race? All right. So presumably he'll have it all figured out by the time he drops his little announcement tonight, and we'll see what that's.
But I'm not a millionaire, so.
From Joe, here is what we're expecting tonight.
Telling you what I've done.
Biden to speak about ending his re-election campaign. So some people were wondering maybe he would drop out early.
In fact,
maybe
I virtually live paycheck to paycheck.
Like that. I'm not so sure. Says, tomorrow evening I will address the nation about what lies ahead, how I will finish the job for the American people, right? So, like, he's going to be sticking around for another 6 months.
I don't even know what Rumble's doing. I
Do
haven't
we need
looked
to hear
checked
it?
in a while.
Like, do we need to even listen to it? Unless he's leaving, he's basically a dead
Lame duck.
Lame duck.
Come on, Robert, get it right.
There's nothing for him to do. Kamala's kind of taken over. They've already thrown him over the bridge. Biden made the shocking announcement on Sunday that he would end his re-election campaign, blah, blah, blah. News was exciting about exiting the race, was dominating the headlines. Harris has already begun campaigning. By Monday night, Harris had secured backing of enough delegates to win the nomination in Chicago if they'll give it to her. Her campaign also announced there is $100 million.
Only thing I'm not happy right now is that Rumble won't fix their
$150 million.
mobile streaming app for iOS. It freezes as you're trying to set up the screen. It worked fine for what? Almost 2 months.
Fundraising had
at least a month and a half.
Trump, but
no,
now,
it doesn't work for shit.
Trump's campaign, 331 to 269. So that rather than Biden would exit, and now that he's exited, they've opened the floodgates again. So Kamala is going through a little bit of a honeymoon period. I think a lot of the Democrats are really excited. You know, they kind of are overselling it, overacting a little bit. You know, like when you make a decision and you hate it, but you're over-invested in it. I've seen this happen many times. I see a lot of people do this. I've done it before. Like, no, I'm really happy with all that money I spent on that thing. You're like, you sure? Because it seems like it's not. Yeah, I'm very sure. It's going to work out properly. So don't ask any more about it. Okay. So that's happening right now with the Democrats. So Harris border confusion is now haunting her new campaign. And this was a wild excerpt from Axios. So they posted this story from Steph W. Knight. And there's this border czar conundrum that's happening now for the Kamala campaign. Because, remember, she was supposed to go down there and solve all this. Right? Outside of the Biden administration, she was going to be the border czar. We heard them talking about this regularly, even using that phrase. Like, I don't want anything to do with that. They had a bunch of weird interviews. You've been to the border? Not really. Yeah, we have. And some strange stuff going on. But now, the media is trying to cover this up. They're saying the confusion haunts her. What's the confusion? She was supposed to fix the border. She didn't. It's pretty clear. In early 2021, they say that Biden enlisted Kamala to help with a slice of the migration issue. Is that how this was phrased? A move that has turned into one of the newly presumptive presidential nominees' first campaign headaches. They say confusion exists about what exactly her role was. Media misfires and so on. The administration early infighting as well between Biden and Kamala didn't help her. But what they're saying is this is the excerpt that's getting a lot of attention because, of course, this is we're reading from Axios right now. And we'll go down memory lane here. But driving the news, the Trump campaign and Republicans have tagged Harris repeatedly with the border czar title, which she never actually had. Okay, did she have like a nameplate? Kamala Harris, border czar? Okay, maybe no, that's true. She didn't have that little nameplate on her desk. But Trump said, Harris was appointed the border czar in March 2021. Since that time, millions of illegals have come in, countless Americans have been killed, and Elise Stefanik has also come in. But Harris supporters rushed to her defense, says she assumed the role that Vice President Biden had during Obama, which is just diplomacy, okay? She is not the border czar. And that's interesting because Axios reported differently on this. And here is what they reported previously. This is from Sean Davis, who's done amazing work out there on the X platform. You know who he is, that's Sean M. Dave. Says, here's how Kamala was described in 2021. Axios, same little magazine, wrote this. Why it matters. The number of unaccompanied minors crossing the border has reached crisis levels. Kids in cages, yeah. Harris, appointed by Biden as, here it comes, get ready for it, border czar, said she would be looking at, quote, the root causes that drive migration. That's good. Did she get to the bottom of it? No. Did she stop it at all? No. Did she address any of those root causes? No. So she was appointed as the border czar. Axios wrote that themselves. It's on their own website. Says, our focus is to deal with the root causes. I'm looking forward to traveling to the Northern Triangle, which was a new phrase that she learned. She's like, wow, I'm going to say that a lot. That's cool. Northern Triangle. That sounds like I know what I'm talking about. Harris said at a virtual roundtable. And so they said,
tell the fact that when the president and the vice president was on that team, agreed
is he talking about? It's about the border. How is that about Trump at all? It's about the border, which is good for the country. And if you do things that are good for the country and the people who are the beneficiaries of those good things, like what they got, well, then they're going to support the candidate who got them those things. It's not complicated. So they're really trying to distance themselves. Kamala's terrible, and everybody basically knows that. So they're having a difficult time trying to reinvent her. Here was an article over from National Review, and this came over from Dan McLaughlin. Gave us a little bit of summary here on what they're trying to do, saying Kamala is going to have a difficult time pivoting because she's tied to Joe. They're lurching into the last 15 weeks. They're saying, Kamala, give us something new. Please, can we have a clean slate? A fresh start. Everyone hates our party. But Harris has a lot less room to pivot than they hoped for. Says, really, there are two Harris records. One is her own record as a California AG, and another as a U.S. Senator and presidential candidate. Says the other, right, all of that, is the Biden-Harris record since they've taken office. So everything up until the White House, everything after the White House. The Harris record is arch progressive in ways characteristics of any California Democrat, some of the most left-wing lunatics of the state. About the only thing that seems remotely centrist about her record, if you squint, is that her zealous use of prosecutorial powers distinguishes her from other Soros-backed prosecutors. And I think she was a little before that time, honestly. We got a new era of that really in the run-up to 2020. That's when we got all these weaponized prosecutions. Bragg, Tish, Jack Smith, Tish James, Fani Willis, right? All of them. So the Biden-Harris record, while it's larded with progressive garbage, has at least some uncut leftism from Harris. She wanted to abolish private health insurance, ban fracking. She wanted to add justices to the Supreme Court. She's a lunatic. Harris, though, can run away with one of these guys. I'm sorry, the lefties. If she goes with somebody who's a lefty, if she goes with somebody who's a lefty, she's going to anger the moderates. So you'd think if she had a very lefty stance on, well, her role in the Biden administration and as a pre-White House person, she'd want to balance her ticket with somebody a little bit more moderate, which is why I think she's thinking about Mark Kelly from Arizona or maybe Bashar. But then the progressives might be irritated about that. And if they have
she picked Shapiro, I heard today.
Her, maybe they'll look, or you vomit your breakfast up. Trump is meeting with him multiple times in the span of a few days this past month, and even at the RNC. There was an in-person meeting in Milwaukee while they were there. Two presidential candidates discussed ways that good talk. Go to the Joe Polish 1989, and it was a really fascinating conference. 1989. He says I can all pinpoint that. You try to go to the FDA, thousands of lawsuits, can't find it. So it'd be just like find it. So it'd be just like, oh gosh, it'd be so great to put him in there. I think he just opened the page for a role in the administration. Rather, it was an informal and free-flowing conversation. I'd be all in for that. Like, okay, perfect. Succeeded in having those conversations because he's not for ideas, and they don't like it, right? You have to be orthodoxy if you're going to be a good liberal. You can't deviate, otherwise they throw you out. Kennedy, who initially ran for the DNC last year, pivoted to independent because they totally snubbed him. And they really shouldn't have done that. They would have had a much better candidate in him, I think, than Kamala or Biden. But Trump met with RFK. They had a conversation about figures in business and politics. Yeah. Says Trump spokesman, oh, nothing here. Don't worry about it. Kennedy's people didn't respond for comment. Shanahan, Kennedy's running mate, said in a statement, yeah, she's aware of that. She says, yeah, I'm aware they're talking. And I, says Shanahan, I support American unity and health anyways. So we're willing to speak with anyone on unwinding the corporate capture of our agencies. Yeah, I don't know if it's just corporate. I'd say it's government capture. It's corporate government, no doubt. But interesting, right? So Kennedy might be jumping in some way, shape, or form. And that would be just a lot of fun, because I think that would be a good pickup. We had someone over from the Fox News station, Laura Trump is on, and she's having a conversation about the new Democrat shift the Indiana Jones swapping of that golden skull. So Biden's skull's out. They just shove Kamala's on there. It doesn't really matter who it is. Remember, they elected John Fetterman and Joe Biden from a basement. So it doesn't really matter. Here is what Laura was saying with the Fox people.
See, co-chair, they just anointed Kamala Harris. She's received no vote. And when I mean no votes, I mean
like zero.
She was the first one out of the race. She never got a primary vote. Now they've anointed her as a leader. She didn't get any
one primary vote
in this election as well. So what do you make of it? They said they were going to run on democracy, and this seems real democratic.
Lawrence, it is such a joke. Look at the other side. Oh my gosh. We had to basically get a proof of life in a phone call from Joe Biden, the current president. I'll remind everybody, yesterday, whenever Kamala Harris went to that Wilmington campaign office, this is insane. Do they really think the American people want to vote for this party? This is what this party is doing to the country? Wow.
They love it. They love being lied to and abused, apparently.
Exactly right, Lawrence. I'll remind the audience how the process is actually supposed to work here in America. Us, we the people, we are actually supposed to vote for them and elect them to these offices. And yet it appears a lot of people for a long time knew Joe Biden. Some people might say that that June 27th debate with Donald Trump, which was obviously disastrous, maybe was the first step in pushing Joe Biden out. Then you had the press conference, the NATO press conference, where he stood up in front of, the country and really didn't seem to have it together. That may have been another step in pushing him out.
More computer work tonight, guys.
He wouldn't go out on his own accord. Yeah, they had to threaten him, and now they have coronated Kamala Harris. This is not democracy. She also dropped out before her own home state of California voted in 2019 because she was polling so low. You contrast that with the other side, which is what we're offering on the Republican side. We have a proven candidate who actually delivered results for the American people, for whom people actually voted.
Yeah, she's pretty terrible, and her record speaks that truth. And I think the more they try to introduce her to the public as this new, fresh, exciting figure who's a competent, capable leader, I think the more the facade will fall off. Let's not forget, Joe Biden picked her, so you pick somebody that's kind of a step below you for your vice president. You don't pick somebody amazing, right? That's just how it works. So if Joe Biden was terrible and he picked Kamala, man, she's really bad. So we'll be looking forward to how they're going to introduce her, and we'll be looking forward to press conferences and debates and all the things, because she's very unlikable. And I think even her own California people saw that. She dropped out before they even got to vote on her. Not a single Democrat voted for her. And now she's going to be the presidential nominee. Amazing. So Trump says he's ready to go. He'll debate her, no problem. He says, yeah, I'll debate Harris. Don't matter where it is, ABC, whatever. He said it shouldn't be on ABC, right? He agreed to the terms when they had their first fighter in, and then they swapped their fighter in the middle of the 6th round because Trump was beating the crap out of him. So they said, well, we'll just bring in someone else because we don't like losing, because they're cheaters, right? The game had already started, and they swapped out their player, even though they agreed to 2 debates with their player, but now they're dropping out. So Trump said, look, I agreed 2 terms with Joe. Joe's not in the race, so how about we change the terms? But doesn't matter either way. I'll talk to Kamala wherever, anytime, anywhere. Says the next debate, which is scheduled for September 10th, is by ABC News. So they're just going to shove her back in there, I guess. And Trump in recent days has said, well, okay, how about I get to set one now? Because Joe Biden picked the terms, and you would say, well, he was the incumbent. So maybe Trump agrees to his terms because that's all he's going to get. But now Kamala's not an incumbent president anymore, right? She's now a new blank nominee, so they say. So why wouldn't she now agree? Trump already gave up one to go sit down with Tapper and Dana, and now they want to go hang out with George Stephanopoulos? No. But during a conference call with reporters on Tuesday, Trump said, yeah, I'll debate her. I don't care if it's on ABC. He said, I would be willing to do more than one debate, actually. Happy to do it. He said, I'm not really thrilled with ABC because it's George Slopadopoulos, which he said he watched on Monday and had concluded was favorable to Biden and to Harris. But he said debating's important for the presidential race, and he's pretty decent at it. He just eliminated Joe in one fell swoop. I think if you're the Democrat nominee or the Republican nominee, you really have an obligation to debate, says Trump. Harris campaign did not respond for comment. Man, it's going to be terrible. Trump and Biden in May agreed to 2 debates, one in June, another in September. Then Joe left like a little coward. Trump said he believed Harris would be easier to defeat than Biden because he was slightly more mainstream, but not by much. Still on Tuesday afternoon, the Trump campaign released a memo from a pollster in which he argued that Harris would see a polling bump that would put her ahead, just temporarily. Given what's happened over the past couple days in her impending choice, she's going to get a bump, no doubt. There's a little honeymoon period, and they timed it very nicely right in the aftermath of the RNC. And that bump is likely to start showing itself over the next few days and will last a while until people actually get to know her. Trump's campaign conference call focused on immigration and all the things, but we're going to see if they'll be able to separate her from the Biden record. They were already doing Biden-Harris stuff a long time ago, so I think the brand is pretty much saturated. James Carville, who was having a meltdown recently, let's check in on him and see how he's doing. Oh my gosh, that's Katie Couric. Wow, didn't even recognize her. Oof. Okay, so here is these two. It's amazing they're still talking, but here they are.
Sometimes the vice president has a tendency to try too hard.
And you can see almost the wheels turning.
Or something. But Carville looks pretty happy. He looks like, okay, maybe there's some new energy in the Democratic Party. You can see he's sitting in front of his bar, a bunch of empty bottles back there, man. He's probably just been guzzling those for the last couple of weeks. And hopefully he's doing better now. We don't want anybody to be drinking themselves to death over their political candidates, but that was Carville. And was I blocking him this whole time? All right. So that's Carville. That's what he looks like. Here was Newt Gingrich. They were also talking about this. And I think this is a fair take. I would not underestimate Kamala Harris because of the media, because of the money, because they're sycophantic there. There's already people on X, Alyssa Milano and all these Hollywood lunatics saying that they're ugly crying over her. What are you doing? What are you talking? For what? What has she done to make you ugly cry and lose your entire competency, your composure over this candidate? Are you serious? But they did a lot of this with Obama, and I think this is what Newt's point is. But the difference between Obama and Harris is that Obama had a lot of intelligence. He was very astute. I think he was politically smart, and I think he could exercise charisma in a way that was threatening to the Republican Party. And I remember when he was coming up, I'm like, oh gosh, not looking good for the Reds on this side. So Kamala, though, doesn't have any of that, right? She does not have that charisma at all. You see her staff turnover was, I think, like 95%, something like this. Even people in her own party have concerns about her, and they've said that openly. AOC has said that, as have others. So I don't think that the Obama comparison is fair at all, but there's so much astroturf, right? They do such a good job of creating a facade around these people that you do need to take it seriously. And as we're he's gone, they're going to have plausibility to rig the election. They'll come out and say, oh, it activated the women, or abortion was a big deal, or the African-American vote suddenly turned out, or whatever. And then they'll just, 10,000 ballots in Georgia, 10,000 in Wisconsin, 10,000 in Arizona. That's the game. So here is Newt explaining some of his concerns on this new change.
I really think like I'm at the beginning of the McGovern campaign. It's going to have the right vice president, and nobody's backing out and saying at a historic perspective. So we're going to have a San Francisco radical who voted to the left of Sanders, whose positions on a wide range of issues are seen by most Americans as insane, who was supposedly vaguely in charge of the border, but she's magically, by the power of Barack Obama, his team, the elite media, and the people in Hollywood,
after Newt Ricotny, because he's going to be live again,
and end up as president.
You've summarized my position perfectly.
Well, I just think the Trump campaign is very simple. If she is plausible as president on election day, she might win. Therefore, their mission's really simple. They need to slow the campaign down, get it to focus on who she has been, block her from a whole series of tactical gimmicks that the elite media would love, and just keep coming back to the basics. And if they do that,
it's open.
She may get a McGovern vote.
It's a drive-through. Drive-through beer. That's what I'm talking about.
And I don't think people look at the long-term pattern of American history when they look at these things. Everybody in Washington wants to play daily politics. It's who wins today, who wins that. This is Nixon-McGovern. There's no other campaign that this relates to. This is Trump as Nixon, sitting there, not particularly loved by a large part of the country, but dominant. And the Democrats have decided that suicide with happiness beats rationality. And if that's what evolves over the next 2 or 3 months, this will be just an astonishing election. And frankly, the whole year's been astonishing, as you know, Mark.
Yeah, it has
so why
been.
should this be astonishing?
Didn't protect Trump because they did. After he got shot, then he got protected. You go, oh, I mean, I guess that is technically true. It's like, I mean, he has a point there. After the Secret Service failed catastrophically and let their protectee get shot in the head, yeah, then they did jump on him, I guess, after Trump had already ducked and they took out the sniper, I guess. But is that like something to write home about? So no, it's not irresponsible here, Jim. We'll go through that clip from CNN. We'll jump in to what happened there in Congress today because Director Wray was testifying in front of the House Judiciary Committee, and I've got a bunch of good clips on this, so we'll spend some time going through it. We're going to highlight Thomas Massie and Victoria Spartz here today because they got into some J6 questions. We've actually got 2 clips from Thomas Massie. One is him talking about J6. The other we'll follow up with is about the assassination and the shooter, but both of these are just great clips. And Christopher Wray, it was surprising, but he actually gave us some answers. We got some new details on the shooter, and we got some new details on J6. In other words, Massie got him to admit that that gallows thing was ridiculous and dumb. So that's all fun. We got Representative Dan Bishop was getting some good information out of him. Jim Jordan was also there today talking about the shooter's drone. So apparently they did recover a drone. It was in the shooter's car, and Christopher Wray gave us some details on this. Nadler, who's been naddling around Washington, D.C. for like 30 his waddle, but something's going on down there. But anyways, he's been waddling around for a long time, and he said Trump caused this because of Trump's dangerous rhetoric, including his bloodbath comment, which was nothing to do about an actual bloodbath, but was talking about the economy. And Matt Gaetz went into this, and we got Christopher Wray to say that there were no confidential human sources
the corn
at all,
shot
no
up.
Confidential connections to.
Yeah, the corn shot up
shooter.
around here. It was it was less than knee high by the 4th of July, but in just weeks it's shot up.
Because they always say, no, the
Some
FBI
fucking
had
cops
no
over there. I wonder what
confidential
they're
human
doing.
sources.
Oh,
No.
there's an ambulance over there.
Okay,
too.
well, how about the HSI,
Here the cops.
Homeland Security Investigations, or how about any other agency? Did they have? Well, no, I don't know. I can't speak to those agencies, but the FBI did not. Oh, okay, thanks. So they just hide it and tuck it in other agencies.
What's
So
we're
we'll go
doing
through
over
it.
there?
Actually, some good information in here, so that will be fun. And then, guess who, my friends? Karine Jean-Pierre made it back. Joe Biden is back to the White House, and so now she can talk to the press. And the press made it a little bit awkward. We're going to go to the press briefing. I've got a couple different time codes pulled out for us, and including Ducey. Ducey went into it with her for about 4 minutes. Started out asking her, "Okay, Karine, do you feel betrayed like the rest of your party? Because you were just out here basically lying to us, saying he's not going anywhere. He's already made his decision. Stop asking me questions." Then it turns out he's not in the race anymore. So womp womp. We'll hear from Karine. And then, of course, my friends, we'll see what you have to say about all of this and more. It is a beautiful day. Very grateful that you're here and with us. If you want to join us for some extra content when we're done here, come check us out at watchingthewatchers.locals.com. We have a members-only community over there. We do live streams in the morning. We do after parties. We do streams on Saturday. We have a lot of community. We got to meet a bunch of people at an event in Vegas. It was a ton of fun. We also have memberships on YouTube, so if you want to join us on YouTube, absolutely come join us there. We do everything except the after party, and we'd love to see you there either way. So thanks for supporting us. And today, we are going to drop in. We'll have a short case of live stream privilege that we'll be using today. We have a promo that we'll throw into one of the segments coming up, but because this is a live stream, we will fast forward through that. So let's get to it, my friends. we've got some good stuff to
I'll grab
jump into.
some chicken
Let's get
fingers
queued
from
up.
Dairy Queen. If I can
And
find the
hit
Dairy
it.
Queen here in
And
Fremont.
fact, before we do this,
I don't know this town very well.
yeah, we'll have to change it in the middle. All right, let's do it. Secret Service now implicated. That's according to Senator Chuck Grassley, who sent a very curious letter over to the director of the Department of Homeland Security. We know that Cheadle has left and resigned, running away from all the damage that she's caused, including the near assassination of the former president. But here is what Grassley sent, a letter over to the agency saying, there's something strange here with these photographs that I was able to cobble together from local law enforcement, and we'll look at them. But we've also got other updates on the shooter, the school refuting the claims, father speaking, and CNN being very CNN. And so let's zoom in on this actual letter that has come out from Chuck Grassley, and we have to share the PDF. This is a little bit different from our mobile studio, but here is what we have now. This is from Chuck Grassley, Senator. He writes,
Oh, they don't have a drive-thru?
to the Honorable Alejandro Mayorkas.
Shit.
And look at this name, who is now in this
fuck,
place,
everybody going to Dairy
Mr.
Queen?
Ronald Rowe. Oh, that's the new acting director, United States Secret Service. Guess who's not there? Kimberly Cheadle. Almost got the president killed. Now she's probably, I don't know, maybe she's hanging out with Nathan Wade. Maybe they're on a cruise together since they're both no longer in government. But here's what Secretary Mayorkas and acting director of the Secret Service Rowe got from Chuck Grassley, the senator, ranking member,
Okay,
budget
there's no
committee
drive-thru,
over
so
in
I'm
the
running
Senate.
in.
He said,
I'm
all
gonna
right,
head to some
listen,
people.
DHS,
Be right back.
Secret Service. You know, I write to you again to request the Secret Service operational security plan and any related records for the J-13 attack on American democracy and the former president, held by President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. Now, my office has received records related to the apparent location of some law enforcement posts during the J-13 attack, to include Butler County and Beaver County Emergency Services units, which is the ESU, which were in many instances trained with SWAT tactics, as we heard yesterday from the police colonel, with assignment at the AGR building. That's the building that we're all concerned about, where the shooter was on the roof. Now, Grassley says, the senator, my office has also obtained the below color-coded document indicating what appears to be some state law enforcement sectors for the Trump rally. So remember, we have a big distinction here between state law enforcement and Secret Service.
Shit.
And then we have questions about who was responsible for what.
They don't even do it
Secret
here.
Service pointing their fingers at the state saying you were responsible.
Well, I said this one. A lot of them they do food too. They got
Then we
the
also
awesome
heard that the
chicken
state maybe did.
fingers with country gravy,
But if this-
but not at this one. It's only ice cream
Why was
here.
the Secret Service who plans for these whole events, not
They're like, try our new
at
menu.
least
Well, you
covering the
fuck.
building?
All you got is
If it was
blizzards,
being
bitch.
delegated to somebody else ensuring the delegation was happening appropriately. So we're going to look at this, but they say this is the state law enforcement sectors for the Trump rally, and the document notes each sector is highlighted by, quote, the order of importance.
Piggy.
Now, is this document accurate? Asks Senator Grassley.
Oh, yeah.
Did local
Well
law
passed.
enforcement have the shared responsibility with Secret Service to cover the AGR building where the shooter was? So to better understand the full
Take your
security
fucking
posture of
time,
the event,
asshole.
the Secret Service must provide equivalent records. So
Fake
we got
SUV.
this from local cops, and here is what we see.
Oh, it's Wendy's.
Now, this
That's
is
what
where
we gotta
Trump is
do.
speaking, right in this location. So we'll put a marker right there. This is approximate, right? But the snipers were on, the counter snipers were on the roof here, where those red dots are. Shooter was over here in this location. You see the trees right about there.
I'm gonna order on my
So,
phone.
We're missing
So I can
any
get some points.
colors
Some
around
points.
this building. Nothing is there. So apparently, in order of importance, it went one, which you would presume would be where a lot of the crowd is, all seated in here. Trump's stage is up in this location. So sector 2 is probably going to be pretty secure, right? Not really a public sector. Going to be pretty well cordoned off. The public will be in sector 1, so we've got to keep close tabs on them. Then we got sector 3, which will be over here. Now, I don't know why they secured sector 3, but they neglected to secure the mirror side of the stage. So you might say to yourself, well, Sector 3 has a direct line of sight to the Trump podium, maybe from this building, where we draw this dot. Or maybe Sector 4, you could put somebody on that roof. Or in those buildings. I don't know how tall they are. But okay, got to secure those. I mean, it makes sense. At least they're marked and highlighted. Now, what's also curious is the rest of this is also not really protected at all. So there's also buildings in this section. We're going to highlight in red the areas that are just totally neglected that might have a direct line of sight. You think you kind of want 360 degrees around the perimeter of the protectee. But here, that whole area is not at all accounted for. Now you'll notice that Sector 5 goes out all the way over this direction, which is pretty strange. That's parking. Okay. So we do have a legend here. So the main stage in the audience, as we suspected, is Sector 1. We have the barns and the motorcade. That's where the president will be in Sector 2. The entrance to the event is at Section 3, so people will come through this event and go through security. Section 4 are the ponds, Ponds, and the parking is going to be in Section 5. Section 6 is going to be EMA, EMS, fire, police parking, and in Sector 7, so all the support team will be back here behind the barn, and then the hangars, the dairy, and the barns are all going to be in Sector 7. So they neglected all of this, which maybe, I don't know, residential perhaps, looks like Sarah Lane, and these might be little homes with maybe some various houses there in this vicinity. But then this whole area where the shooter was, totally uncategorized. Nothing is even there, right? Just totally unaccounted for in this entire security plan. So if this is what Chuck Grassley got from local law enforcement, then what is the Secret Service doing saying this is their responsibility? Because this is not accounted for them, right? Local law enforcement, hey, these are our duties. So this is not accounted for. He
said duties.
So Secret Service has it. Or over here, a bunch of these buildings probably have a pretty clear line of sight to the president. Same with this residential area. These definitely look like houses. And maybe these are just residential houses, so they're not tall enough to get a direct line of sight. But the point is, this is unaccounted for. And as we've seen, it's like 120, 150 yards golf chip into that from this location. So the Secret Service, who created this document? Did they create it? Did the local police create it? That building was not accounted for. Why? So Grassley says, now additional records I've obtained show that a Secret Service counter unmanned aerial system UAS operator was on the personnel list. A drone operator was actually on the list for the J-13 attack. And then Director Cheadle testified yesterday that, yeah, there are times during a security plan where the Secret Service does deploy an asset like a drone. Yet it's reported here that the gunman flew a video-capable drone over the event site hours before Trump took the stage, which may have helped him plan the attack. So then we need to know, is the reporting accurate? Christopher Wray testified that, yeah, it was. And is the document accurate? So Secret Service is being asked about this from Chuck Grassley.
Truckload of kids in front of me.
Here is the communications list.
Well, that's weird how it looks like the light's flickering because it's on 30 frames.
Here are the people.
It's 1080p, but it's on 30 frames.
Basic local communications information. Butler ESU is one person, name redacted, phone redacted. Beaver ESU, name redacted. Butler ESU, redacted. Then we have one Secret Service counter sniper, so local cops here. Secret Service counter sniper. We have a lead transportation. Don't know if that's with the Secret Service or what. We have a farm show site. We have an intelligence person. We have a technical security lead. A
$50
UAS.
That fucking order.
In Penn.
Well, 5 people.
Drone.
Mine's $10.
And then we have field office supervisor and farm show supervisor. Names and contact.
I got a triple berry
redacted.
small frosty for free because he's there.
So are these the secrets? This is feds and local.
So even though I didn't want ice cream for Dairy Queen, I got ice cream.
Just placeholders, kind of like a menu when you're ordering something. How many pizzas are we gonna need? Okay, we're gonna need 2 sausages. What is she? Oh, she's a veggie person. Okay, get her veggies. So, you know, whatever. And then you just order it all, and then they fill in the gaps with the actual people. We need an intelligence person. We need a counter sniper team. Okay, you're gonna be that team. So prepared by, don't have a name on that. Position title, don't have a name on that. Signature, no, don't have that either. So Grassley continues, saying, on July 16th, I wrote to Homeland and the Secret Service requesting information on the catastrophic failures that resulted on the J-13 assassination. On J-13. Why did Jill Biden have a bunch of them, and why did Trump only have 3? Jill spoke to like 300 people for 5 minutes. Trump had a rally of thousands. And also, Grassley wants to know the total number of federal personnel present at the Trump rally, saying recently, I've also obtained video footage of the aftermath of the shooting in which local law enforcement can be heard discussing drone availability to clear the water tower. Very suspicious water tower. Can you fly something over there to make sure there's not a shooter on there? Because a bunch of people said there were. The Secret Service must provide its operational security plan, Ronald, showing the locations and the roles of all federal personnel assigned to the J-13 events. So in other words, if this is the local assignment, what was the Secret Service assignment? Or was this the Secret Service assignment and the local assignment? And if so, who approved that? And why? So they continue telling us. So please give us this information immediately, no later than July 30th. Mayorkas.
Can you even read the receipt?
Says, did the U.S. Secret Service, local or state law enforcement deploy any drones at the rally?
Is there a spoon in here?
If not, why not?
There's a spoon?
Did the Secret Service receive
thank you.
requests from local or state law enforcement agencies to operate drones? Did you approve those requests? And if not, why not? Was there an unauthorized...
What if I check anyway?
Drone...
Because I'm eating this ice cream on the way in.
Restricted airspace of the event? If so, when did that happen? Please provide all records about that. Was you even
No.
Was the counter drone operator aware of this intrusion? Because apparently we have one notice that he's there. So there you go. Did the counter operator deploy countermeasures in response to this intrusion? If not, why not? If yes, let us see what he did. Now, who at the Secret Service was responsible for making the final decision to deploy UAS or counter UAS for the event? Because no one signed that form. Please provide all records between the U.S. Secret Service, local law enforcement, state law enforcement, sheriffs, federal law enforcement, related to the use of drones and the counter use of drones on this event. And saying since January 2021, something else happened then, has the U.S. Secret Service deployed drones or counter drones during campaign events at rallies? And if yes, please provide a detailed description of their use and how you use your drones. Please also provide all guidance and policies about training for your drones and counter drone operators. Now, was the water tower cleared in advance of the rally? Did you send your drone over there? Did you look at the water tower before? If not, why not? And did the water tower have any role in the events at the Trump rally? We want to know that. At the rally, please describe if there was any role. Thank you for your prompt attention to our request. If you have any questions, please contact our team. Shout out to Brian and Sylvia. You guys rock. Sincerely, Chuck Grassley, ranking member, Committee on the Budget. So, nice letter from Chuck Grassley, and we'll see if some of those answers come out, but good questions, and I think we want to know if there was a drone used, and were they clearing this? What did the drone capture? My goodness. they save that footage, or did it magically disappear like the rest of the radio comms from that day? Well, we know that there is a lot more happening. The Secret Service has asked Trump to stop having rallies outdoor, saying that Trump should go inside.
Why?
Or else he might be shot in the head again. Which is interesting. We remember during COVID, they didn't want Trump to have rallies. They said you have to social distance or everybody will die. Do you want to be responsible for killing grandmas all throughout America? You piece of... And they locked us down and did all the things so that they couldn't hang out. We couldn't hang out with our friends. People were dying alone in the hospitals. We'll never forget that. But as soon as it was a time to burn down the 3rd precinct in Minneapolis, then there was no problem. COVID was not even a big deal at all. All of them went out and did it. Kamala Harris was like, yeah, burn it down. Social justice. Still has a tweet about that up on her X account. But now they don't want Trump and his people outside again. So they're just going to, I guess, keep lodging bullets at his head. Just thunk, 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 until he gets the message. So here is what they're telling him. We're so incompetent, we can't cover the roofs of sloped buildings because our sloped brains can't process it. It says Secret Service officials encouraged Trump to stop going outside. In the aftermath of the shooting, agents from the Secret Service communicated their concerns. It's saying, hey, we're totally incompetent. Okay, look, I know we pretend like we know what we're doing. We have no idea what we're doing. So if you want to live, man, just go inside. Yeah, but you're this. I know. Just trust me, dude.
Jesus, why are we hitting our brakes?
Take your bro's word for it. Like, really? Like, don't get the steak.
Fucking moron.
Don't get it. All right, fine. I won't get it. So the people familiar spoke on condition of anonymity. Now, for upcoming events, Trump's team is scouting. What are you talking about? Just tell us. Parking lots, vendors lining up, open areas. There are huge, gigantic parties of people who love this country. Now, they usually include large rosters of speakers, goes on for hours, crevices in those big stadiums and stuff. Can they have everything covered? It feels like outdoor might be better.
Yeah.
You know, now,
the theater Lincoln got killed in was tiny.
It doesn't pack the same punch. There's something about being at those outdoor rallies. And they say, yeah, well, it's complicated outdoors. There could be tens of thousands of people. Yeah. Most other former presidents rarely appear in public because no one likes them. And agents usually arrive well in advance. Look. It's not like this is a complicated thing, okay? They've stopped many other presidents from being shot in the head. They didn't cover a simple roof. The crowd was like, hey, Secret Service idiots, tapping him in the head. Hey, moron, you know? There's a shooter up there, idiots. Like, duh? Well, let me call it in after he shoots him. So it's not complicated, but they just don't want to, I guess, be responsible for Trump. And so if he does a rally outside, guess what this means? They'll say, we told you so. Hey, well, sorry he got shot in the head. We told him not to go outside again, but he did it anyways. So that's their article over from the Washington Post. And scripted apps with his random friends talking about baseball cards. And here's what they said. It says Bethel Park School District from Bethel Park can confirm that the alleged shooter of the J13th assassination attack on Trump is a graduate of the high school, graduated in 2022. The school district wishes to express its sincere wishes for a speedy and complete recovery for Mr. Trump, President, and those in attendance at the Saturday event who may have been physically harmed or emotionally impacted by these tragic events. Like a car accident or something. Now, we offer special condolences to the family of Mr. Corey Comparator, who was killed. Our thoughts and prayers are with you at this difficult time. Now, our school district will be cooperate and fully cooperative with active law enforcement investigations and so on, and we'll do that moving forward. Now, there have tells us correcting the record. Updated. Says it has been reported that the shooter was a member of the Bethel Park High School rifle team or tried out for it but was dismissed due to poor performance. Or because the coach had character concerns. They took a shot, never returned. We don't have any record of that happening. Now, there's also a false claim that the shooter once threatened violence against the school. because they're trying to make him and the student involved received appropriate discipline. It had no connection whatsoever to the would-be assassin. So why are these stories all and bullying? And they say there also is a painful misconception that one of our students was relentlessly bullied in school, which may have led to the assassination attempt of President Trump. There we go. Now, the school district maintains detailed records, including academic performance, attendance, disciplinary history, and health records. Now, according to our records, the shooter excelled academically.
There's some more computer work out here.
Regularly attended school. He had no disciplinary incidents at all, including those related to bullying or threats. And worked as a dietary aide at Bethel Park Skilled Nursing and Rehabilitation Center. It would be wildly irresponsible for us to speculate on his state of mind in the 2 years since we last saw the failed assassin. Wild. So where are all these weird stories coming from? He was bullied. That's why he did it. Weird, strange kid. No. Good student. Always attended. Attendance records were there. Did well. Probably straight A kid. You know. Graduated. Got an associate's degree. Went to community college from Promenade. No threats. No violence. No bullying. No rifle team involvement at all. So if he didn't have rifle team involvement, where did he learn to shoot?
His dad.
How did he know how to use a rangefinder? Even how to assemble all the components, right? He went and bought ammunition the day of, was probably there flying a drone around. Was this just a hobby of his, or was he hanging out with other people who were showing him how to do this? Don't know. Very interesting report from the school, Bethel Park School District. You see their official statement just recently updated, and we'll keep our eye on that one. Now, the father has also spoken, kind of. New York Post has this report for us saying that the father now speaks out for the first time, but kind of. He doesn't really speak out much. Father of the would-be assassin has revealed the family is, quote, just trying to take care of ourselves. He stepped out in public for the first time following the shooting. Now, Crooks, Matthew Brian Crooks, 53, made the remarks as he was spotted leaving a grocery store. That's all we got. Says, just trying to get on with our lives. Seeing that with Crush, I mean, is that Crush and Gatorade? That's just great. So, just sugar water. Just shoving it in your gullets. All right. So, made the remarks as he was spotted leaving a grocery store. Says, we want to just try to take care of ourselves right now. We can start with pouring that down the drain. Please just give us our space. As he loaded bags of poison into his car. We're going to release a statement when our legal counsel advises us to do so. Until then, we have no comment. All right, so that's what he said. Not much there. Yeah, I do have some empathy for him. Right? Who knows what his...
Look at this train of fucking geese.
Who knows what went down in that household or what.
Just creep forward. They'll get out of the way. Creep forward.
I don't have kids, but for any parent, I can't even imagine. No matter what happened, we have some empathy for that. So peace upon them.
Keep creeping forward.
We get some answers about this. We also have CNN.
They will move.
Saying, don't you dare say it was irresponsible to say that the Secret Service didn't protect Trump after Trump was shot in the head. Jim Acosta, you know who he is. Here's this ridiculous clip from these two knuckleheads over on CNN. It says Acosta is very professional. Don't you scold them. They only got people killed and maimed.
And there's also reaction coming in from Donald Trump. Apparently said on Truth Social, the Biden-Harris administration did not properly protect me, and I was forced to take a bullet for democracy. It was my great honor to do so. I mean, that appears to be what the former president is saying. Perhaps he's not aware that the director is saying, but that's what he's saying right now on Truth Social. Let me go back to Jonathan Bachrach, who's still with us, I believe. Jonathan.
Y'all, I'm watching, watch on Rumble. Robert Govea.
I mean, obviously the Secret Service is a professional operation.
Pretty good show. I listen to him almost every day. I'll see you guys later. I'll probably fire it back up on the way home, depending on how long this takes.
How is it irresponsible?
Thanks for riding with me, everybody. Peace.
Protect them.